Charles Robert Darwin was born in Shrewsbury on February 12, 1809. He was the second son of the Robert Darwin and Susanna Wedgwood. His paternal grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, was also a well-known physical and important naturalist. After the death of its mother in 1817, its education passed in a local school. Already since childhood, he showed a taste for natural history that he considered innate and especially a great hobby to collect things, shells, stamps, coins, or minerals. In October of 1825, Darwin entered the University of Edinburgh to study medicine by his father's decision. Young Charles, however, did not get interested in the race, to disgust for surgical operations. So, after 2 courses, his father, ready to prevent him from becoming an early son of a family, proposed to him an ecclesiastical career. After resolving his own scruples about his faith, Darwin gladly accepted the idea of becoming a rural clergyman, and at the beginning of 1828, after refreshing his classical training, he entered Christ's College of Cambridge. More than the academic studies he was obliged to attend, Darwin profited in Cambridge from his voluntary attendance to the classes of botanist and entomologist John Henslow, whose friendship brought him inestimable profit and had a direct intervention in two events which determined their future: the expedition to Wales and above all the voyage of the Beagle. Mr. Darwin, what have been your hobbies since I was a child?
I have ridden on horseback since I was a child. Sometimes I have gone with my friends to the countryside. However, my passion has always been hunting, and I prefer to go hunting with my friends than go to the study. We usually make big meals after hunting.
Mr. Darwin, what is your opinion of your education in your childhood?
My education in childhood was wasted of time. From childhood, I acquired a taste for natural history, and I like to collect many things like sheets, stamps, coins, or minerals.
What has been your perception of the medical degree you study at the University of Edinburgh?
I began my medical career at the University of Edinburgh when I was 16 for my father's resignation and admiration for his work. However, I used to stop going to college because I was disgusted with surgical operations. These operations are very ugly, and the teachers do not call my attention. I think that I could live without studying medicine, with the inheritance of my parents.
What do you think of your father's idea for you to start the ecclesiastical career?
I felt from it would be a good idea to be a rural clergyman, and I began studying at Christ College in Cambridge.
Mr. Darwin, what happened after the planning with the help of your uncle was a success and you could travel? On December 27 of 1831, the Beagle named the ship Geovanna, at which point I began what I called my second life, a moment I never thought would arrive. I had waited about 2 months in Plymouth for this. What were you planning? The expedition led by Captain Fitzroy was to complete the topographic study of the territories of Patagonia and Tierra del Fuego, the layout of the coast of Chile, Peru, and South Island of the Pacific, and realization of a chain of chronometric measures around the world. Which was the factor that most contributed in your training on our research? The geology, since we inexcusably at stake the need to reason. I used to carry with me the first volume of the Principles of Geology by Charles Lyell, author of his so-called Theory of Current Causes, and who was my collaborator in the exhibition of evolutionism. In 1836, he arrived in England after traveling for about a year. The changes in me were very noticeable, mentally and physically. For these years, I was very sick of health, but my scientific taste didn't stop. In 1839, I began to write two written of my diary of the trip, and in the collaboration of two texts, the present displayed geological and zoological observations. In the present, you are known for work on the theory of evolution. You want to tell us a little more about this? Many people think that I was the first person to talk about evolution, but this is false. My work speaks of a possible way in which gives evolution species. This is called natural selection. Okay. May you explain your work about the natural selection? Of course. After returning from my trip on the Beagle, I began to write notes about the transmutation of the species. This related to my observations on the journey. At this point, I began to collect data about the transformation experienced by plants and domestic animals. These transformations are the product of the intervention of farmers over many years. Then I thought, if in domestic plants and domestic animals, farmers can select the favorable characteristics and disappear the unfavorable, the good species will suffer the same in the natural life. This is the theory about the evolution, the natural selection. What was one of the most difficult parts of your work about the origin of the species? In October of 1838, that is for 15 months after beginning my systematic study, which happened for fun to easy on the population of Malthus, and I began to be well prepared for the joy of the search for existence that occurs everywhere appears favorable to those that are lost. When things are unfavorable are destroyed. The result of this is the formation of a new species. Here, therefore, he finally had a theory with which he worked. The book was put on sale on November 24 of 1859 at the John Murray Publishing House in London, and sold out the 1250 copies printed on the first day. It was great. Okay, Mr. Darwin, your most famous book is The Origin of the Species. How was the process to publish this book? The advantage of having written The Origin of the Species was that all the research about the biology changed its concept about life and its origin. However, this book has a disadvantage that caused a great revolt against me, because my theory excludes God from the origin of life. This is terrible for the theologians, and they start a war against me, in which they discredit me with a ridicule and offense that put me crazy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Darwin, for your time. Your contribution to the science are very important, especially in current biology.